Hello, this is Clarissima, the Brazilian one, and today I have a very special guest. She is Moregulinski, and she is a Richmond VA artist, create regalia art from diabetes medical disposal. And today we are here to know a little bit about her story and to see her amazing, beautiful Avatar series. Thank you, Mo, to let me come to your house, open your house to me, and let me see this beautiful collection.
Well, thank you for coming and your interest.
Thank you. Mo, tell them a little bit about your work as a healing and minister,
Okay.
and then you tell me about your experience as diabetes.
Okay. I decided to start studying healing because I thought that I did it naturally. I have lived with diabetes since age 3.
Wow.
After I passed the point where doctors had kind of told my parents I would die from it, I waited 8 years, and then I started to get very grateful. And I wanted to start studying about healing because it was more my belief system and not actually anything that I was doing, although I do what I'm supposed to do most of the time now.
But it wasn't like this all the time?
No, it wasn't like this all the time. When I was a child, I was very good, very interested. Society said, oh, there'll be a cure. And by the time I was a teenager, I thought, 14 years later, hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where's the cure?
Yeah, let's get the real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I stepped away from medical care. I took my insulin. I ate pretty well. Like I was always concerned about, your figure and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I ate fairly well. I took my insulin, but I did not check my sugar levels for 7 years.
Wow.
All through college and graduate school. My second semester of graduate school, I was looking out the window and I put my hand over my eyes, just playing a game, and I realized the light went to half at least, and that I had very reduced vision in my left eye, and I was diagnosed that I had diabetes retinopathy, and I was legally blind in that eye.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I spent 3 years in laser surgery, and I'm happy to report that today, because I never believed I was actually blind, it was my biggest fear, but I was like, they can't tell me I'm blind. It was a firm belief that I would not be blind. And I had a firm belief in Jesus Christ the healer, and I had a very intense faith base. And a combination of all that brought my vision back. Today it's 20/30 to 20/50. It varies in there, but I can see without glasses.
Oh.
And it's great now.
Wow.
So it wasn't always that I was the quintessential great diabetic. I was mad for a long time. And I would cry at my doctor's appointments every time because they would always say, how did your blood sugar do this? And what did you do this? So there's a lot of self-incrimination.
Yeah, and make you feel guilty.
Make you feel guilty when you're doing the best you can and you can't do any better because sometimes stress makes your blood sugars go up.
It's not only the food.
It's not only the food. So I began to feel like all my actions, if there was a negative consequence, I was to blame. And that's a hard way to live.
Yes.
That's a hard way to live. And it's hard on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I found a doctor, and I was 38 years old. And he was the first doctor that ever told me I was doing a great job.
Oh.
He says, look at you, you're doing a great job.
Wow.
And I cried with tears of joy.
Oh.
Like that was the first time I didn't just sob I was sobbing. I'm like, I don't do this well enough. And he said, of course you do. Of course you do. Look at you.
Wow.
I had 2 perfectly healthy children, and still I had that guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple years later, I thought, I have to tell this story because it is hard work.
It is hard to work.
It's hard work every day, and you never get a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You never get a remission.
Uh-huh.
You have to do it every day. And so I wrote a book about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then teaching art, I teach teenagers art. I teach them the wearable art
Uh-huh.
at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. And I decided to start this series, and it just kind of came up, like, I need to make my own art. And we make it out of recycled materials at the museum. And I weirdly had been collecting diabetes medical disposables because I wanted something to throw on the celebration bonfire, something to say, I'm free, and throw it all in there. And like, I don't need this anymore.
Yes, yes.
I didn't get the bonfire, but I do get artwork.
Yeah.
So it makes it a game now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game. How can I manage my diabetes with syringes? Because through my doctor's approval, sometimes I'm on the pump and sometimes I need a vacation. Sometimes I don't want to be a cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to my doctor and I'll go on injections for a while. And when I do that, it's minimum of 6 up to 10 shots a day.
A
day, because every time you eat or every time your blood sugar, you
need
use the insulin.
insulin. Yeah.
And I would separate them too. I would take my short acting and long acting separately because I wanted more supplies. So then it became a game. Like, how can I take care of myself in a very good way and have more art supplies to make my art?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I know. It's a little sick, it's a little twisted, but it worked for me, and it brought my passion to my care.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted then to check those blood sugars, because then I used the tabs
Yeah.
in my art.
Wow.
And then I wanted to check my blood sugar and get my insulin, because it was giving me art supplies. And it totally renewed the way I look at having to do this every day. It made it into a game.
This is amazing. Oh my gosh.
And so I take them all and I think of something to make out of this. And I make something out of those.
And it's always beautiful, as you see in few minutes. The pieces are amazing. I have no words to describe. And I think how someone can think something like this, but she's artist, and artists are different than us.
Well, but not really, because it's about changing your perspective. And I think you can do it if you're a scientist. Like, instead of being, oh, my blood sugar is 300, you can say, what is the ratio of sugar in my blood to the amount of insulin I need to take? And you can play the numbers, you can play the science, you can play saturation. If you find a way to play it as a game instead of life or death, this is all my fault, all of that dark side, it becomes a more joyful experience. And if you're joy in it, then the family's more joyful because you're not impacting them. And so I just decided I had to, in order to survive, I had to find another way to look at this.
Yeah.
And this has become a very passionate, fun, interesting, beautiful way I work that out in my life.
Is amazing. And doesn't need, as I was talking with Mo, doesn't need to be diabetes. Can be anything you need to transform in your life. You can get what is is painful and see how you can transform. And I think this is the big lesson here. Is to transform the pain to something beautiful or pleasure, or just transform. And I think this is the big lesson that you are expressing. Is amazing.
It's just shifting that perspective.
Yeah.
And again, it's sometimes I do have a dark day, but there's always that other way to look at it. And once you experience or experiment with different ways to look at it, like when you exercise, you do those sit-ups and your muscles hurt a lot.
Yes.
and it's painful, but you keep doing it and you get beautiful results.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or better results.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way I looked at it, because I see teenagers, especially. I'm going to start workshops with teenagers in October, and they don't want to be different. They don't want to be,
It's all this.
attached to this. They don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
But if you look around teenagers today, a majority of them are carrying extra weight. A majority of them would benefit from regular exercise, of even knowing what nutritious food is, because we don't teach that in school anymore.
Yes, yes.
So what I hope is that these teenagers that have to do this to save their lives will become cultural leaders, will become avatars themselves, be leaders in the community that bring this information to the community in an artistic, fun way, and change the world. Because we can take as many pills as the day is long, but unless we really invest in ourselves, in our health, in loving ourselves as well as we can, the pills won't be effective.
This is true. Yes, this is true. So let's see Mo collection right now, because it's beautiful. So I am here with Mo, and Mo will explain what this dress is about. It's all her recycled diabetes medical supplies. So let her explain, and you get these clothes for you to see how wonderful and amazing it is. I'm impressed.
Well, this is the first piece in the series, and it's called Needles. And if you look closely, these are 24 gauge pin nails. They're not actual needles, because that would be too difficult, but they're 24 gauge pin nails representing the 24 gauge needles that I started with when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And so the question that started this whole series was, if I pointed all the needles that went into my body outward, what would it look like?
Wow.
And that was the beginning of the transformation. So it took something that caused me a lot of pain when I was a child to something that was really strong, and it was my transformation. It became very symbolic of living with a chronic illness and getting through the tough stuff and seeing something really beautiful and transformative on the other side.
This is amazing, Mo. I have no words to express how beautiful and how amazing it is. So this one was the first dress.
This was the first dress, and I teach wearable art at the museum to children or teenagers. And I also did costume design, and so I wanted to start that expression in my own work. And so that's where this series called Regalia Healing Avatars come from.
Wow, beautiful. So you did this, then what you did? What was the next one?
The next one isn't out because it's fairly fragile and needs some renovation work, but this is a drawing of it. I draw on my sewing machine, and it is a pair of wings. And the wings here are made out of 10,000 blood testing tabs and 500 insulin syringes. And if you go to my website, there are pictures on that.
Okay. So you put her website in the box information, okay? Yes. For you be able to access everything, because this is amazing.
And fun.
And fun and beautiful. Okay, so now...
So the next one was this one. And this one is called Food. All of the avatars represent a power that comes from living with a chronic illness. In my situation, diabetes. So this is food.
Let's get a close here for you to... Maybe you can see it. That this is all orange peels.
Orange peels.
Orange peels and needles, of course.
So the orange peels, there are 900 of these discs on this piece, representing all the food choices you have to make every time when you're living with diabetes or maybe other diseases,
And
chronic
even
conditions.
though if you're healthy, I
Yes.
think food is something that we need to make a choice every single day, and the healthier,
Yes.
the better.
Yes, making choices for your best and highest good.
Yes.
And that's beautiful. Like, I wanted to make that beautiful. I wanted it to look like a defense. So it's the premise of this is scale mail, which is a medieval type of armor. And it is 900 dehydrated and preserved orange peels. And I use some Asian stitching techniques and just kept embellishing this to, number one, enjoy the process because these take a lot of process. There's a lot of process work in these, which is the same thing as keeping your health. There's a lot of process in it. And if we can decide that it's a great process, it's a process we enjoy, we find more happiness in it.
Yes. And the blood sugar, as you say,
Yes.
go down, and everything is helping you to be healthy
Right.
and happy. And
Well, I find, because I have the advantage of taking my blood sugar every day, like 6-8 times a day, if I'm in my joy, my blood sugars are better. So it just works out that way. When we stay in our joy, we are just healthier people.
Yes.
And so making this artwork keeps me in my joy.
good, good. So let's see the green one. Look how beautiful it is.
This piece is called Perspective.
Uh-huh.
This is the heart of the series of work. It is made out of 300 insulin pump reservoirs. So you can see the reservoir right here.
Yeah.
In an insulin pump, you would fill this with insulin. You would take the other end then, this end, and this would clip into your body with a catheter in your body. And you change this every 3 days.
Uh-huh.
So with this, again, these are all recyclables. And I wondered how, like, it's hard to throw this stuff away because it saved my life every day.
Yes. Yes.
So I decided to not be crabby about having to plug in my glucose meter every day and to just make something beautiful out of it. So transform the idea that I have a chronic illness into something beautiful to look at that actually tells the story. So the story here is this is 300 days or 900 days living with diabetes.
Wow.
And that it can be beautiful.
It's beautiful. Look here where look like beads and diamonds. This is what it looked like. It's just piece of her treatment.
This I was looking at a book of knots to figure out how I would make this, and then I remembered I went to diabetes camp at age 8, and I learned to tie the knots, and so I used what I learned at 8 years old at diabetes camp. The first time I ever gave myself an insulin injection, the fun and the beauty of going to that camp.
Wow. So this is kind of macrame.
Yeah, macrame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was crochet. I don't know how you say
Yeah.
it in English,
No,
but
I
it's-
did think of
Okay.
crochet, but this is all wrapped with wire.
Okay.
The gold
It would be too
wires,
hard.
yes, and the gold wires represent good choices
Uh-huh.
and or a good perspective, a healthy perspective, and the black wires represent, not so great choices because sometimes we just don't make the best choice.
Yeah.
But it's our best choice at that time.
Yes. This is
So
true.
it
Yes.
still can make something beautiful.
And one more that is more not favor because I think she loves all the same, is all her kids, her babies, but she have a special feeling for this one. This one represents exercise. So Mo, tell about this piece.
So this is exercise, and exercise is made out of the most elegant fabric in this collection. It is a silk cut velvet lined with a silk charmeuse. And the cuirass of this one, you can tell if you get close in here, these are actual bicycle tires and bicycle tubes. And it's the most elegant piece, I think, because exercise in any health plan is the most elegant, the most accessible, the least expensive medical silver bullet you can have. If you do this every day, you will be healthier. 30 minutes a day, a walk, walking, swimming, and bicycling are my favorite. And so the medical disposable here are bicycle tires and tubes.
Okay. And I don't know if you can see, this is really beautiful and elegant. I hope I can show in camera that how elegant it is. Like the pants is, wild and is have this fan here and is really, really beautiful. Is the way we will be if we exercise every day.
Exercise makes you glow.
Yeah, just like this outfit here.
Yes.
Okay, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I am really, really amazed how wonderful you did this.
Well, I have a passion for fashion and a passion for art, and they just collide right here in my studio.
Yes, yes.
And a passion for good health. I mean, I always thought I didn't have a choice in that, and I was a little grumpy. But when I do this, it's fun and it's exciting. So I've added my passion to my self-care program, and that is art. So
Yes.
I get it all.
And I think show us that doesn't matter what, we have a choice.
Exactly.
We have a choice.
Your perspective,
Yes.
like the
Yes.
middle, which is the
Yeah.
green, which is our heart space. The perspective you take on anything
Yes.
makes a huge difference.
Yes, yes. So you have the perspective, the food, the exercise, needles,
So that would be medication.
medication. Okay. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video as much I did. And thank you, Mo, for this, for all this beauty. And see you next Thursday. Subscribe to my channel and bye.